Hello, folks. I greet you. Welcome to the Friday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Citizen Jones Useni. Now, today on the program, former FCT Minister Jeremiah Useni dies at 82. Labour threatens shutdown over telecom's tariff hike, and court prescribes Lakurawa declares group a terrorist organization. And later on in the show, we'll share this with you. Police post 10,000 constables, plan 30,000 annual recruitment. We're getting somewhere. I'm hanging out with Charles Ideho. Charles, I greet you. Good evening.
Thank you, Jones, for having me. I appreciate it.
And Charles is joined by Adekunle Yusuf. Adekunle, welcome. I greet you.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Okay, the team is ready. I hope you are. All right, folks, let's go. Our first story is this one. You know, according to the Japanese writer Haruki Murakami, death is not the opposite of life. It is an innate part of life. The news of the passage of the retired Lieutenant General Jeremiah Timbut Useni, an officer and gentleman, and a senator of the Federal Republic, breaks us. The 81-year-old Langtang Plateau State-born proud son passed yesterday after a protracted illness. It is pertinent to note that the late three-star general, was a quartermaster general of the Nigerian Army. He was a state governor and, as I said, a minister of the Federal Capital Territory. You know, as a senator, Jeremiah Useni represented Plateau South at the National Assembly. May he rest in peace. Charles.
Yes, I remember him, Jeremiah Useni. Some of us who grew up in the 80s and, of course, were, I think I remember him. Then he was the governor of my state then.
Bendel at the time.
Now, you know, say Bendel, not the carry last. Now, Edo Delta. So it was quite popular because at that time, Bendel was very popular because of sports. So anybody who was I think they were called Milad at that time, military administrators. Yeah. So Milad. So if you were a governor of Milad of Bendel State at that time, you were expected to be very popular. Because again, don't also forget, on the flip side, Bendel State was also in the news for the wrong reasons. You had Aneni, Osumbo, and all that. So as Bendel was in the news, anybody who was there was also sharing the limelight. Of course, that's on the flip side. But he's done well. No, but
just to add that, Anini did not exist in Jeremiah.
No, I'm just saying, I'm talking about Bendel State.
I got you first time.
I'm talking about Bendel State, not because, no, he wasn't there. So having said that, but again, I think after that political dispute following, I think he wanted to be governor of Plateau State. Remember that after he contested. So for me, he just fizzled out of national limelight. Honestly, if as a media man, if not because it just announced, I never knew he was still here with us until his death was announced by the governor of Trunk. So he's done well. There was also a time he was also touted because he was very powerful in the military. He was touted following the death of Abacha. He was touted to be the man that was supposed to take over for him because before protocol at that time brought in Absalom Bakar. So it wasn't a small fry. It was a heavy weight. It was also, again, remember the Langtang mafia. So he also was very prominent.
Of the much touted Kaduna
Mafia. Yeah, Kaduna Mafia. You know, after Kaduna, you have now had the Langtang Mafia. Yeah. He actually played prominent role in the Nigerian military before when he now transitioned to civil rule, and then he became senator, I think 2015, if I'm not mistaken, on the platform of PDP. So then he later was to become the national vice chairman of PDP, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So until, again, he fizzled out of national reckoning until now that his death has brought his name back. So as you said, may he so find peace at the
in the bosom of the Lord.
Yes, exactly.
Yusuf, you know, I think it was Lord Alfred Tennyson, am I right, who said, lives of great men remind us that we can make our lives sublime and on departing, leave footprints on the sands of time.
He was a great officer, a great Nigerian.
And gentleman.
Yes, he loomed so large during the administration of Abacha. You know his name, Jerry Boy.
Jerry Boy, yes.
You know, during that military era, Abacha military era, Jeremiah Useni was was a very powerful military officer.
Jerry Timbuktu Useni.
So much that even when Abacha was rumored to have died, some people thought he would assume, that seat of Edo State and all of that.
The rumor was the late Useni was touted to have been the last fellow late Abacha saw.
You are right. And at the end of the day, when General Abubakar Absalami emerged, they just gave us the story then that out of protocol, Abubakar had to emerge. You remember Abacha, created a lot of bad histories at that time for not having a deputy. His deputy then, the late General Ladipo Dia, was in prison over the phantom, coup at the time. So when the number one man died, so there was
a vacuum.
There was a new number two, and that created a lot of, But at the end of the day, it was, well managed. And one of those that were touted to probably step into Abacha's big shoes, was Jerry Useni, because Jerry Useni was like everything to Abacha at the time, and nobody dared cross, Jeremiah Useni's. So when you look at his life, even when he came into politics, he was in ANPP at the time. I think he had a running battle, and he left. And when he left, he joined one party. I can't remember, one unknown party. He contested. He wanted to be senator. He lost. That was 2011. So he lost. The senatorial bid at that time. He came back and joined the PDP and contested again and won. And after that, he thought he could be governor. Having been governor of the whole Bender State, he thought he could be governor. And in 2015, he contested, and he lost, I think, by about 40,000 votes. And with all the litigations, and at that time, he still lost. He didn't win, and APC candidates, won. So when you look at his life, look at everything, he did his best, and we can only wish him,
It's right to say at this point, he came, he saw.
And he conquered. And in conquering also, one thing you can't take, I personally can't take away from him was he was fiercely loyal to the military. Fiercely loyal to the military, fiercely loyal to his superiors. Because the way they protected Abacha, even against all odds, Abacha became very unpopular, both internally and internationally. We were also told that Abacha was holed up in that Aso Rock. But Jerry Boy were the people who were seeing, and they actually were. So he was fiercely loyal. And that's one military officer you can't take anything away from when it has to do with loyalty to nation, to loyalty
he was an officer and a gentleman.
A gentleman, exactly.
So we cannot but say, retired General Jeremiah Timbuktu Useni, good night.
Thank you.
All right then, let's go to our next story.